Greetings, folks. Welcome back to my channel. Newsflash, everyone. Folks all over the country are researching the idea of moving to the Sooner State, and they're turning to YouTube to do it. What's behind all this? Well, the reasons vary, but for some people, frankly, it's because of the situation where they're currently living. How can I put this tactfully? Has changed so dramatically that they're looking to get out, moving somewhere else more attractive. Case in point, I just helped a seller close on the sale of his home here in Oklahoma City, and the realtor representing our buyer told me that she and her family just moved here from Oregon, primarily because of the lower cost of living. And they didn't even know a soul here when they moved here. And now they're very, very glad they made the move. So does any of that sound familiar? Any of you out there thinking the same thing? Well, if so, I made this video just for you. We'll cover in short order the 5 pros of living here, and since no place is perfect, and out of fairness, the 5 cons as well. Before we dive in, let me introduce myself. My name's Lynn Taggart, and as I said, I'm a realtor here in Oklahoma City with Coldwell Banker Select. As a lifelong Oklahoma resident, I enjoy making these videos to help educate folks about life here, with particular emphasis on creating video content specifically for those considering making Oklahoma, and the Oklahoma City metro area in particular, their future home. To that end, and to keep me fired up to making these videos, I would really appreciate it if you could hit the like and subscribe buttons. Doing so lets the YouTube algorithm know that you like the content I'm putting out and helps expose my channel to a wider audience over time. Also, hit the notification bell if you'd like to be notified when I post new content. I try to do it every week, by the way. Okay, to kick things off, I'm going to cover the 5 pros first, and we'll wind things up with talking about the cons. And speaking of the cons, I made this video here to explain the things about this place that, full disclosure, could drive some people absolutely crazy. My goal is to keep potential newcomers from making a very expensive mistake moving here and then absolutely hating the place. But hey, enough about the negatives. Let's talk about the good stuff first. Pro number 1, the people. The people of Oklahoma are a very friendly bunch. That's been the universal comment I've heard from people that I've met that have recently moved here from out of state. Now here in Oklahoma, we wave at passersby we don't know, we open doors for each other and say hello, please, and thank you. Still to this day. We have the admirable habit of pulling together as a community when crises hit the area, and we've had more than our fair share, I can tell you that. Case in point, the 1995 Murrah building bombing that killed 168 people, including 19 children. I actually heard the bomb go off, and it was about 5 miles away. You could see downtown from where I was. It was a horrible, horrible time in our city's history. Another horrible time was May 3rd, 1999, with a tornado that leveled parts of the suburbs of Moore and Del City. You see the true sense of community here when these kinds of events occur, events that bring out the best of our people. More on the weather, by the way, in our cons section later. When you include all the suburbs surrounding Oklahoma City, and we've got a lot of them, the greater metro area is home to nearly 1.4 million people. We're fairly diverse, with 53% white, 20% Hispanic, 14% African American, 4% are Asian. Native American population represents 3%. And speaking of Native Americans, owing largely because of the origins of our state, Oklahoma has an extremely large Native American population, second only to California. Now, surprising to me in doing my research for this video, nearly 42% of Oklahoma City residents are veterans, due in part, no doubt, to the military presence here with Tinker Air Force Base in adjoining Midwest City, Oklahoma. Pro number 2, the cost of living. Now, this one's a biggie and the main draw for many folks, especially folks on relatively fixed incomes that need to make their dollar stretch as far as possible, which, let's face it, for all of us, that's a real challenge for everyone these days, right? I made a video a few months back all about this topic, shown here. That said, Oklahoma is a very affordable place overall, with cost of living 12% lower than the national average. That's especially true when it comes to housing. If you're coming from either the East or West Coast, you will score big time. Buy a house here for the same money as you spent in LA, for example, and you'll think you're living in a castle, with some money left over to boot. Bang for your buck factor here is very high when it comes to housing affordability. Median home price in Oklahoma City is $262,000, compared to nearly $416,000 nationally. Data just released show that Oklahoma City now ranks 9th nationally in terms of affordability compared to the 100 largest cities in the U.S. And if you're a renter, the good news continues there as well. Median monthly rent for all bedroom and property types in Oklahoma City is $1,350. Nationally, by comparison, median rent is over $2,000. Big difference. Gasoline, electricity, and food costs here run well below national averages. Don't believe me? Hey, paying over $6 a gallon for gas on the West Coast? Here we only pay about $3.50 a gallon. Unfortunately, homeowners insurance in Oklahoma is more than double the national average due to hail and wind damage potential, but car insurance in Oklahoma runs about the national average. Pro number 3, the traffic. Now, getting around Oklahoma City is easy, and you can get from Edmond in the north to downtown Oklahoma City during rush hour in about 30 to 35 minutes. I know because I made that commute for decades. Commutes are rarely longer than 30 minutes around town, assuming no wrecks to tie things up. Part of the reason traffic is usually light is because Oklahoma City is just so spread out. Now, we rank 20th in terms of population, but we only rank 8th in terms of sheer size of the land area the city encompasses. Our footprint's that big, which basically means you're going to need a car to get around, I hate to tell you. Getting in and out of Oklahoma City's airport, Will Rogers World Airport, is also a breeze. Long lines at security and baggage handling are non-existent. You can sometimes arrive at the airport, park your car, go through security, and be standing at your gate, believe it or not, in under 30 minutes. Pro number 4, the revitalized downtown and surrounding areas. Now this is where Oklahoma City is really coming into its own. City Center, Deep Deuce, Bricktown, Automobile Alley, Wheeler, and Plaza districts, all of these areas are really taking off. Frankly, the speed and size of urban renewal taking place of old buildings, warehouses, and storefronts near the city center in formerly run-down areas is remarkable. As a lifelong resident, it's exciting to see everything that's going on these days with all the revitalization taking place. Tired old areas are seeing a real rebirth of activity and commerce, and young people especially are flocking to these new hip urban areas. It's also now easier to get around in downtown Oklahoma City due to a new streetcar system that's been launched serving these areas. Downtown also features a brand new convention center, new convention-ready hotels, and Sistertail Park, named after our state bird, across the street from the convention center. All of this is in the shadow of the unique Skydance Bridge, which spans I-40. Now, not to be missed is the Wheeler District on the other side of the Oklahoma River, which features the Oklahoma City block letter sign and the Ferris wheel, which, by the way, used to reside at the Santa Monica Pier in California. Pro number 5, if you like to gamble, pardon the pun, you're in luck. So just last month, I made a video on this very topic, shown here. Oklahoma has 33 tribes operating 143 casinos across the state, the most of any state in the U.S., and 10 of these are in the immediate Oklahoma City area. These include Class 3 casinos with Vegas-style gambling, Class 2 casinos with no bank or electronic gaming, travel plazas with slot machines and smoke shops. Now, believe it or not, the largest casino in the entire world, WinStar Casino and World Resort, with over 600,000 square feet of gaming area, 3 hotels, and 20 restaurants, resides in Oklahoma, in Thackerville, near the Oklahoma-Texas state line. The largest casino in the Oklahoma City area, Riverwind Casino in nearby Norman, and like all the other large casinos in the state, features plenty of Vegas-style gaming, with the casino area pretty large, over 200,000 square feet, along with a host of big-name entertainment acts coming there on a regular basis. So that's it, the good stuff. The pros about living here in Oklahoma City, there's lots going on here to be excited about, but you have to take the good with the bad. So here's my honest assessment of the 5 things you may not like about living here. It's possible some of these could change for the better in the future, but others, well, let's just say you have to learn to live with it. Which leads me right to the very first item on the list, con number 1, the weather. Okay, when you think of Oklahoma, what comes to mind for many are the tornadoes that are known to occur here. It's true, Oklahoma City sits right in the middle of what we call Tornado Alley, and large devastating tornadoes have occurred here. As I mentioned earlier, the May 3rd, 1999 tornado that devastated parts of Morndale City was the most powerful tornado ever recorded, an F5 category storm with winds upwards of 300 miles an hour. Can you imagine that? On the day of the May 3rd tornado, as many as 27 large tornadoes formed and moved across central Oklahoma, and the devastation was beyond belief, as I saw firsthand. I was part of a Red Cross team offering hot meals that went into ground zero immediately after the storm. Never forget it. Nothing was left standing over 4 foot high. Complete devastation in any direction you turn. Now, these kind of storms are very rare and definitely not the rule. The truth is, in my 65 plus years of living here, like a lot of Oklahomans, I've never seen a tornado in real life, Weather forecasting has come a long way, and the weather radar is so sophisticated. The National Severe Storms Lab, by the way, is in Norman, that you usually have plenty of time to prepare if it looks like a tornado is headed your way. And even so, the risk of one being impacted by a tornado is very, very small. Or to put it a different way, statistically speaking, you have a 99.94% of never being impacted by a tornado. How about that? I'll take those odds. A rare F5 can be as wide as a mile across, but most tornadoes that touch the ground here in Oklahoma in the springtime are pretty small. Nevertheless, many homes in Oklahoma are now being built with in-ground tornado shelters, including the house I live in now, as a precaution. Something every Oklahoman takes seriously, but not something to ever obsess over. While damaging tornadoes are rare, what often accompanies them is damaging hail, and it is a common occurrence. Oklahoma ranks in the top 3 nationally when it comes to hail damage to autos. Back in 2017, Oklahoma had 650,000 properties damaged by hail. As mentioned when I was talking about the cost of living, homeowners insurance policy premiums here are very, very high, largely resulting from the potential for sizable wind and hail damage claims. Choose your homeowner's policy carefully. Con number 2, public schools here are poorly ranked. Now, since I'm married to a teacher in the public school system in the Oklahoma City metro area, and my mom was a teacher here for over 40 years, I know all too well about what little importance the state legislature places on education in Oklahoma and subsequently Oklahoma City schools. Oklahoma ranks 34th nationally in terms of teacher pay. It used to be worse, believe it or not, and dead last when it comes to school support staff pay. Average teacher pay in Oklahoma is about $55,000 per year compared to $65,000 nationally. No wonder Oklahoma finds it difficult to keep teachers from leaving the state. Put bluntly, education in Oklahoma is undervalued and teachers in Oklahoma are underpaid. Student performance is lagging as well. Overall, public schools in Oklahoma rank 45th in the nation. Yikes. And student ACT scores place Oklahoma in 48th place nationally, even worse, trailing only Nevada and Mississippi. Of course, the pandemic hasn't really helped, but currently in the inner core Oklahoma City public school system, nearly 70% of students in grades 3 through 8 are performing below their grade level. Now, there are a few bright spots in the Oklahoma City metro area, however. The Deer Creek, Piedmont, Bethany, Edmond, and Moore school systems are bucking the trend and performing much better than their peer districts in the Oklahoma City metro market. And there are a number of private schools here in the Oklahoma City area that are well known for their academic performance and regularly send students to some of the most prestigious colleges in the country. Con number 3, public transportation here is non-existent. So, do you own a car? Well, if you don't, you probably will. Why do I say that? Well, because Oklahoma City is really spread out. Don't believe me when I talk about how big Oklahoma City is? Check out this map, which shows easily all the large U.S. cities that could fit within the city limits of Oklahoma City. Adding to the problem, unlike other larger cities nearby, like Dallas, Oklahoma City has no light rail system to help with getting around town. Look at this map to see how the DART system serves a large part of the greater Dallas area. Oklahoma City has nothing like this to offer, and nothing to my knowledge is on the drawing board. Yes, Oklahoma City did just launch a new streetcar system in downtown Oklahoma City, but it only serves the inner Oklahoma City core area. So lack of an efficient public transportation systems, it's a big problem. And your only real solution is either use Uber to get around. There are people that do that, but it can get very expensive, or you buy or lease a car, which means you'll have to deal with car payments, insurance, maintenance, fuel, and parking consideration. If that's not bad enough, one of the main thoroughfares through town, the Kilpatrick Turnpike, is a pay-to-use highway, and to top it all off, when you're not on a well-paved road like the Kilpatrick, you must navigate roads that are often in really, really bad shape. I've personally blown out a couple of tires here in Oklahoma City after hitting several large potholes. Con number 4, high concentration of jobs in a single industry, oil and gas. Since I was an engineer in the oil and gas business for over 20 years, I know a little about this one. Not surprisingly to those of us that live here, but a recent study by PricewaterhouseCoopers showed that oil and gas accounts for 1 out of every 4 jobs in Oklahoma, both directly and indirectly. It's nearly 400,000 jobs. That's astounding to me, and not good when your ideal goal is to have a highly diversified economy supporting a region. To that end, working in the oil and gas business can sometimes feel like you're dangling on the end of a yo-yo with booms and bust cycles happening over and over again, all driven by the sometimes wildly fluctuating oil price. For me personally, get this, I've been through 7 layoffs in my oil and gas career. I was impacted by 4 of them, i.e. I lost my job. Not fun at all. There are a few other large employers in the area, with the exceptions being Tinker Air Force Base, AT&T, Hobby Lobby, and Paycom, who, by the way, owns the naming rights to the arena where the Oklahoma City Thunder play. There's an absence of large high-tech employers to be found in Oklahoma City. Now that could change in the future, but for now it is what it is. Be advised. Con number 5, location here makes air travel challenging. In Oklahoma City, if you fly, very few flights are direct to your destination, and you'll nearly always have to fly to a hub airport somewhere to catch a connecting flight to get where you need to go. Speaking from years of experience traveling for work, this fact is a real pain. It takes up a lot of time and makes air travel a lot more complicated than it should be. Hubs that Oklahoma City outbound flights connect to include DFW, George Bush in Houston, Denver, Chicago, and Atlanta. Unfortunately, what this means is that flights that originate in Oklahoma City tend to be more expensive than flights originating in places like Dallas, Fort Worth, Chicago, or LA. So that's it, folks. That's a quick rundown of my top 5 pros and top 5 cons about living in Oklahoma in general, and living in Oklahoma City specifically. Let's face it, frankly, no place is perfect, and Oklahoma City is no exception. People considering a move here just have to decide, do the pros outweigh the cons? And for a lot of folks that have recently made the move, they do indeed. I can help in that regard, answering any questions you may have about this place. So give me a call, shoot me a text or email, and let's connect. I'd love to meet you and help you sort out fact from fiction. And believe me, there's a lot of untruths and urban myths out there right now about Oklahoma. For example, no, we don't all ride horses and wear cowboy hats and boots. And no, Native Americans don't still live in teepees. Although you can still spend the night in a luxury teepee or covered wagon if you're into that. I talk about that here. Let me know in the comments below what your biggest concerns are about potentially moving here. I'd love to hear what you have to say. In the meantime, I hate to keep harping on this, but it's important for YouTube to know that you're enjoying my channel, and the way to do that is by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Also, hit the notifications bell if you'd like to be alerted when I post a new video. I try to put them out every week. So that wraps up this week's installment. Keep watching, everyone. I really appreciate you tuning in, and let me hear from you soon. Adios, everyone. Take care.